Okay, this is WD0HCO. Going to talk about the Hallicrafters SX140, and this video will demonstrate tuning in CW signals. We're on 20 meters. It's now 12 o'clock, about 12 o'clock lunchtime, so 20 meters is very active. And let's go ahead and switch it from standby to AM, or to single sideband. And we hear lots of signals on there. Now what we do to tune this properly is adjust the audio gain for the level you want, and actually use the RF gain as volume control, which is pretty typical for envelope type detectors. For regeneration, just select the VFO full clockwise position, and you can you're then ready, all set up for receiving CW signals. Okay, we're in the radio teletype area. Let's go show you the function, how that works, the calibration function. We'll go down to about 14 on the dial to calibrate it. Next, reduced the RF gain, because the oscillator on this calibration circuit is very strong. Alright, a little bit more RF gain. Actually, that's pretty well in there. Maybe just a tad. Okay, that's good. It's right in there. So we turn it off and go searching for CW signals. Okay, and that's what it sounds like with the regeneration off. You get to the point where you can adjust selectivity a little bit, but notice the RF. See how that changes the main tuning? Okay, so we will full clockwise position. Now let's turn up the RF gain full blast so we overload the detector. See, that signal is very distorted. You back down on the RF gain, and you will get a pure tone. This particular receiver has 5 tubes. They're all 6-volt filament tubes, very common, very cheap to operate. You can easily leave this receiver on for weeks and weeks on end. A lot of the components underneath the chassis, resistors, capacitors, and coils are all very have a very large safety factor, and they're very highly rated. So basically, it was meant to be on for long periods of time. Nothing else to say. The case is in pretty good condition. It's got a couple little paint chips, of course. There's one little paint chip back here in the back. It's very small. You can easily cover it with paint if you'd want to. And what's fairly typical on these old receivers is that they slide out. This whole front kind of slides out for access into the receiver to replace tubes and stuff. So where it slides in there is where paint often is a little scratched up. Same over here. You notice that you can easily cover that up with regular paint. However, every time you take out the chassis, you're going to come across that, and a lot of designs are like that. Johnson transmitters, if you ever worked with the maroon Johnson transmitters, like the Navigator, same kind of design. These are all pressed stamped steel chassis. There's there's very little aluminum in here. So and of course Hallicrafters is famous for having paint problems. Just about every Hallicrafters product has some kind of problem with their paint. They chose very poor paint, but they built very good receivers, so you can't really fault them too much. Let's take a look at the calibration in the back real quick. Let me go ahead and pull this out. I want to show you something here. Okay. This is the back of the unit. See, plenty of room here. There's no problem. The power transformer tubes have wide separation. Notice that there's no tube shields on here. Heat is not a problem. Also, here's the calibration crystal, which is set up for 3.5. Now, a lot of these receivers do not have this calibration equipment, because this calibration crystal, because what novices used to do is they pull out the crystal and they plug in the crystal that they were transmitting on. Okay, pulled it out of their transmitter, put it right here, and then you hit the calibration control, and the receiver will show you exactly where your transmitter is going to be. So a lot of transmitters don't have crystal spotting, and that's how you can spot your frequency on the receiver and calibrate it, and then you're all set. You don't even have to change the tuning control, because you're going to be listening to your own signal, or you're going to be tuned to where your signal is being transmitted. Also, this one is kind of rare in that it has a lot of the paper stickers. Let's take a look at that. So it got the serial number and the inspection sticker, and of course the copyright sticker. And over here is the tube sticker over here. You can see where all the legends are. You generally don't see this on a lot of Hallicrafters equipment that's been painted or tried to be fixed up. And a lot of that stuff's missing. Now, the bad thing about Hallicrafters, which I hate about this receiver, is that it is terminal. There's no PL259 here. This is strictly terminal, and you'll have to make a little adapter like I did with the RG58 coax, and of course a PL259 on the other end. This is a speaker, terminal, 8 ohms, no problem, 4 ohms, no problem, speaker and ground. This is the terminal that interfaces with the HT40 transmitter, which I also have on auction. The HT40 also has a similar terminal in the back, and there's two ways of wiring it up. You can wire it up so the receiver controls the whole setup. You go from standby to receive, or you can control it from the transmitter. They were pretty flexible. Either way, it's a mechanical switch. You have to flip the switch to transmit. And that's good and that's bad. Of course, everybody likes hitting the key and having everything automatically switch for you. But back in the 60s, in the early 60s, it was all function switches and manually switched, and nothing fancy as automatic like we have today. So if you're going to do something like that, you'll have to add some relays and some transistor switching to get it to work right, to work the way people are used to it today. But I mean, if you want an original station, this is the way to set it up. And one more thing, S-meter calibration. The S-meter is kind of a joke. It's something nice to look at, but let's be honest, if you got 90 dB over S9, you wouldn't want to live anywhere near there, because that's just strictly too much RF, and the signal is the meter's not the circuit, ABC circuit, is not exactly lab quality. But for novices, it was something to watch while you were listening to AM. You have to remember, back then a lot of the signals were in fact AM. So sideband was just coming into its own. On the legend, you see the old novice markings on the bands, and of course the top part of it was the foam band, because 20 meters had no novice. And that's it. That's all. And I thought, hope you like this little video about the SX140, which you don't see